We have a 1997 Buick Skylark. We're going to go through the steps in order to replace the fuel pump. We'll start by bleeding the pressure off the system using our pressure relief valve on our gauge. Be sure and capture the fuel into a safe container. Before beginning the repair, disconnect the negative battery cable. In order to do a proper fuel pump replacement, we need to clean the inside of the tank, and that will require the removal of the tank. At the rear of the tank, disconnect the fuel vent line and filler hose. Remove the safety retainer and disconnect the electrical connection. Disconnect the emissions line. Because of the location and condition of the fuel lines, we will use a spray lubricant to help ease the removal of the connections. To disconnect the fuel return line, you'll be required to use a special release tool. These are available at your local parts store. It's not uncommon for the plastic on the pressure line to break. A new line is supplied with the pump. Be sure and capture any residual fuel into a safe container. Remove the wiring harness from the retainer. With the fuel tank properly supported, remove the tank straps. As you lower the tank, work the fuel filler and fuel lines over the top of the axle. To clear the exhaust, you'll have to shift the tank to the passenger side. It's a good idea to clean the outside of the tank before removing the module assembly. This will keep any excessive debris from getting in the tank. To remove the fuel line retaining brackets, you'll have to remove the fuel vent line. Using a pair of snap ring pliers, remove the fuel pump retaining ring from the tank. Inspect the snap ring to make sure it's not damaged in any way that would hinder its reuse. As you remove the module assembly from the tank, keep in mind there is a reservoir that will hold residual fuel. Be sure and capture this into a safe container. At this point, we need to drain the remaining fuel into a safe container and then clean the inside of the tank. We want to be sure that the tank is as clean as possible to allow a clean environment for the fuel pump. With the inside of the tank thoroughly cleaned, we're ready to install the new Airtex module assembly. Install the tank seal onto the module assembly. As you lower the module assembly into the tank, be sure and align the locating tab on the flange with the recess in the top of the tank. With the module fully seated, reinstall the lock ring, making sure that it is fully seated into the tank retaining tabs. Install the retaining bracket over the fuel vent tube and reinstall the vent hose. As you raise the tank into position, be sure and work the fuel lines over the top of the rear axle. With the tank into position, reattach the tank straps. It's always advisable when replacing the fuel pump to also replace the fuel filter. Reconnect the fuel lines. Connect the emissions line. Install the ABS harness into the retaining bracket. Reattach the electrical connection, making sure to install the safety retainer. Reconnect the fuel filler and vent line. With the repair complete, reattach the negative battery cable. Cycle the key 3 to 4 times in order to charge the system. Start the vehicle and monitor pressure, making sure it's within vehicle specifications. Now before we remove our pressure gauge, we'll shut the vehicle off and bleed the pressure using our pressure gauge, making sure to capture any fuel into a safe container.